Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm coming to you today with an ingredient overview for animal meal. In case you're not familiar, animal meal is a meal replacement powder. It's all natural, easy to digest, whole food based, and absolutely awesome. And that's not just my bias because I formulated the product and with animals' help have brought it to market. But based on the feedback we've received, everything from digestibility to taste to just everybody loves the product. We have yet to receive a negative piece of feedback. But if you're like me, when you pick up a product, the first thing you do is you read the ingredients and you read the nutritionals. And based on that, I get messages on Instagram, on YouTube, etc. And people ask questions. And in the process of going over these ingredients, I want to try to answer some of those questions. So first and foremost, when formulating animal meal, we had to consider the protein complex. And I say complex because we chose to keep dairy out of the product. So it's not like we could just plug in some whey protein to the product and be done with it. Why did we choose to keep whey out of it? Because a lot of people have trouble digesting whey protein, dairy altogether. It causes all sorts of issues, and myself, I haven't been able to consume it in about the last 10 years. So to have a meal replacement powder that not only I could use, but a lot of people who have dairy issues could use would be fantastic. So we began with pea protein isolate. Why did we begin with pea protein isolate knowing that it is an incomplete protein? The reason is because pea protein is super high in leucine and also glutamine. And those are two of the main benefits of whey protein. And because they're incomplete, or because pea protein is incomplete, you have to combine it with other protein sources, which is why we used both egg white and a whole egg powder and a beef protein isolate. By the time we put all three together, the amino acid profile is incredibly strong. And not only is the amino acid profile strong, but the digestibility is great. A lot of times people will say, well, what about the biological value? Knowing that whey protein has a very, very high biological value. And on paper, that's great. But if you can't digest it, okay, and you get the shits when you have it, okay, or you're farting your brains out, I don't know how applicable the biological value really is. So you not only are what you eat, but you are what you can digest, and even more importantly, what you can absorb. When it comes to the beef protein that we used, a lot of people say, well, isn't beef protein just a fancy word for collagen? I've seen what other companies do, and in some cases, yes, that's true. There's no way I was going to load my product with just a cheap collagen protein, because I'm not going to consume it if that were the case. And I would never put my name on it and advocate it to others if that were the case. The manufacturer that we used assured us that the beef protein actually is extracted from flesh. While yes, there is a little bit of collagen in it, there's no way to get around that. Because, look at this piece of steak right here. There's bone running through it. There's all sorts of connective tissue. Collagen is going to be a part of that. But is this just a cheap collagen protein? No, far, far from it. And the amino acid profile reflects that. So that takes care of the protein complex. Now let's consider the carbohydrates. And really what we did was we just looked to good bodybuilding carbohydrates. We used sweet potato, oats. We used pea starch, which is actually a really unique carbohydrate that is super easy to digest. Won't cause gastrointestinal upset, but it's also very easy to digest, which is also why we chose to use, as you can see here, there's some tapioca pearls and a piece of cassava root. Now, tapioca is the starch coming from cassava root, and we use dextrose from tapioca. Why did we use dextrose in the product at a rate of 15 grams per serving? I'll tell you why. First of all, dextrose is, although it's sugar, is a great carbohydrate for a bodybuilder. Why? Because it's readily converted into glycogen. There's no fructose. It's basically just straight up glucose, but coming from a plant. And in a product that's as complex as animal meal, when I say complex, I mean rich in protein and rich in good fats, which we'll get to in a minute, you're not going to have a problem with blood sugar spikes, okay, or insulin spikes. And that's not only on paper, that's been proven. Okay, I use the product daily prior to training. I've never experienced a blood sugar crash with this product. And of all the people we've sent it out to, not once has anyone said, I've consumed it, but then, within half an hour, I'm starving, which would be indicative of a drop in blood sugar following an insulin surge, because the product would have elevated blood sugar too quickly. In fact, it's just the opposite. People who consume it say, geez, for a period of about 2-3 hours, I'm very, very steady and I'm very satisfied. And that's exactly what we wanted. What I felt was why, the carbohydrate count in one serving of animal meal is 48 grams. Why would I use 48 grams of complex carbohydrates, all complex, when I can use easier to digest carbohydrates? They're not going to tax your digestive system, but they're still going to be released at a very sustained rate. So I didn't feel it was necessary to use something like, 50 grams of carbohydrates coming solely from a high fiber carbohydrate like oats. Yes, while I really like oats and I like sweet potatoes, I also, via the pea starch and the dextrose, I wanted easy digesting carbs because I don't want to tax the digestive system. But again, blood sugar surges wasn't an issue, and it's proven itself to be true. Now getting to the fats in the protein, one of the reasons we used whole egg powder was to get the fats from the yolk, which is entirely valuable. And we used olive oil, which is just a really well, easily digesting fat source. But a lot of people have said, well, geez, what's up with the cholesterol? There's just over 200 milligrams of cholesterol per serving of animal meal. Now, first and foremost, the recommended daily allowance, for an adult male of cholesterol is 300 milligrams. If you guys are out there eating animal proteins, chicken, steak, in any significant quantity, even fish, keep in mind an 8-ounce serving, of chicken breast has almost 200 milligrams of cholesterol. This is coming from the same people who recommend you consume 300 milligrams of cholesterol daily are also telling you that a 200-pound male should consume 70 grams of protein for the day. So I wouldn't put too much stock in those recommendations, especially considering that the majority of the recent research is showing that the link between dietary cholesterol consumption and blood levels is very, very weak, and if hardly correlated at best. So would I worry? No. To be honest, I eat a half a dozen eggs every morning, and it's a well-known fact that cholesterol is a building block of steroid hormones. It maintains structural integrity of cell membranes. It's a very vital substance, which unfortunately, within the last 30 years was demonized by the medical establishment, but they're starting to kind of renege on that and go back on their word. As more and more research shows that what they said isn't really supported. So should you worry that there's 200 milligrams of cholesterol per serving in animal meal? I'm not going to tell you what to worry about. Obviously, I don't worry about it. And if you're consuming protein in any significant quantity throughout the day, you're probably consuming a lot more cholesterol than you realize. So no, I would not worry, but whether you worry, it's up to you. So that's more or less it. As you can see, these are the ingredients. Really a very simple product. Oh, the only thing that's not represented here is we use a bit of cocoa powder because this is a chocolate flavor. There's natural cocoa used, and there's also some stevia and monk fruit extract used to give it a little bit of sweetness. And those are both entirely natural. That was a conscious decision, to keep the product entirely free of artificial sweeteners, colors, flavors, preservatives. There's also no added fibers. A lot of people will say, well, why did you add more fiber to it? Well, fiber for a lot of people, it causes bloat and gas and digestive upset. And we weren't looking to make the product any harder to digest. We want something that's easy to digest and not going to just unnecessarily tax the digestive system. There's a significant amount of fiber coming from the sweet potatoes and the oats that we use in the product. So that's it. I hope that helps to acquaint you a little bit more with the product and answer any questions that you might have. If you're looking to purchase the product, it's available currently at animalpack.com/animalmeal. Or if you just go in the front door of the website, it's located right with the rest of the animal products. There are also half-serving packets available. They're actually free. You can get 3 of them for free. You just have to cover the shipping cost, and that's also available in the same location. That's about it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you try the product, because I really don't think you'll be let down. Nobody has been so far. So until next time, that's it. See you guys later.